Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the main stage for the closing keynote session. How have you enjoyed the event so far? Give us some feedback, get it dropped in to the link directly below. So, 3 more incredible presentations and interviews. Let's go through the first one now. It's my pleasure to introduce a double interview with Philipp and Christoph, respectively the CEO and the CRO of eGym. eGym are helping pioneer the way equipment manufacturers develop products and interact with consumers and also with clients. They provide some incredible insights into where they see the future of client and member engagement, but also the world of technology evolving to. So without further ado, a double interview with Philipp and Christoph. Philipp, thank you very much for joining us here today. What a year it's been. We're going to talk technology, we're going to talk eGym, but looking back over 2020, can you describe what kind of year it's been for yourself and for the company?
Yes, sure. First of all, thank you very much for having me, Ross. What you're doing for our industry is amazing and you're a great individual. So thank you for that. Thank you for having me. And indeed, what a year. What a roller coaster. The year for us at eGym started really strongly, but we saw already when we looked into China that, in our core geography so far in Europe and North America, this will definitely be a difficult year. What I'm seeing also is, silver linings, because I do think our industry finally has the chance to really make the transition from being perceived as some aesthetics industry to actually be a health industry. So I've right now mixed feelings. It's every day tough for all of us in this market environment, but I do think there's really silver linings that can, create something much bigger for our industry.
Now, for those that don't know, this year you celebrate your 10th anniversary at eGym. Congratulations. I'm sure the champagne is somewhere in the office, but the bigger party will have to be put on hold, well, at least for a short term. Looking back over the last 10 years, there must have been some fantastic moments. Can you share a couple with the audience just now?
Yes, there are so many. I would say, as somebody who really started with the idea and then turned it into a concept and then turned it into a company, I still remember so well when we made the first pilot work and had the first users, and having them liking what we are doing was just a sensational feeling. Another thing that I wanted to mention is, of course, our industry right now, there's difficulty in having those trade shows, but what I thought was so amazing when we entered the fitness industry, those high energy trade shows. And I remember so well our first FIBO with like 100,000 people and everyone is excited about what they're doing. And by the way, that still keeps me also so energized that everyone in the fitness industry is so excited. I do think because I'm German, but I had the idea to found eGym when I studied in the US. So for me, the first US gym also was an exciting time. And maybe lastly, because we are a partnership company, we want to partner very closely with the operators, with the users, but also with all other vendors. I do think the moment once I realized that we've built really great partnerships with companies like Life Fitness, Preco, and Matrix, for sure have also marked some amazing moments over the past 10 years. Probably much more to tell, but I've tried to be crisp as you asked me to.
No, really appreciate that, Philipp. Now, technology is progressing at such a rapid pace. It's so hard to keep up with the developments on a day-to-day basis. The fitness industry, if we hold our hand up, and even the wellness industry has been a little bit negligent in taking advantage of the full power of technology. Where have we fallen short as an industry in truly leveraging the power of technology in our industry?
Yeah, great question. So when you think about it, right now everyone talks about digitalization, but for me, somebody from the tech industry, basically, digitalization is just a word, but it's more about what are you making out of it. And in my view, digitalization in the gym industry really means a personalization of the user experience. And there's still so much to do. When you think about the typical experience inside our four walls, and that's our core business, it's still a very analog way. When I ask operators, what's the success rate for these different training goals you have on the training floor? What are they exactly doing on the training floor? Is every single touch point personalized? The answer typically is no. The answer typically is that many people drop on the training floor, press the quick start button on a cardio machine, which makes no sense because it's independent of the user and independent of the training goal. They may do some strength training with 15 reps and 3 sets and a random training weight. And after the workout, no one tells them whether they won today, which is really so difficult then to keep being motivated. And so I do believe that the core focus on digitizing the gym industry should be really about thinking about the core of our industry, which is inside our four walls, and really personalize the user experience here. That would create a lot of value.
I think we're at the precipice of a very exciting time for our industry now, Philipp. Just as you said, if we get this right, we unlock millions of new health seekers into health clubs, recreation clubs, gym. Talking about technology and this digitalization, this seems to be exactly the reason why eGym was created. What are you actually now evolving in terms of your product line, and how are you innovating that alongside this goal of interacting and engaging not just the active health user, but this health seeker as well?
Yeah, we want to make the gym work for everyone. That's our mission statement. And we started in digitizing the training floor through our own smart strength and smart flexibility machines, but also with our partners, Life Fitness Preco Matrix and many more, where we basically bring together one user experience and allow that also this Matrix machine, for example, would know the user and guides the user through the perfect workout and reports success afterwards. We connect to body fat scales and so on and so on. The operator can pick best of breed, but for the user, it's one user experience. And what we do really is we focus heavily on personalizing the user experience on the training floor, but then use that workout data and shoot it into the gym's app. We are the global market leader for branded apps for gyms. But we believe the app should not be only about marketing and admin features. The starting point for an app user should be, this is my personal workout data and I can track my success. And my interaction with my gym is really connected through, I have a training goal and I'm achieving it. But then once you have the user in this app, obviously you can start doing more things with regard to marketing and operational features and so on, and even complement the user experience with fitness experiences outside the four walls. But our right to win as an industry is inside the four walls, and this is where our focus should be. And creating a customer journey that really starts from my first day in the gym, helping me progress. This will really be a difference maker for us to keep more people, which then already allows us to grow so much, because we have kind of God's gift with New Year's resolutions, and it's our job just not to lose these people.
We're going to have an increased acceleration of digitalization, of technology advancement over the next couple of years, Philipp. Looking ahead into a glass ball, if you will, 2 years from now, where do you see eGym in the ecosystem of this new tech world?
We will keep investing heavily in personalizing the user experience on the training floor, taking the workout data and therefore the user to an app and do more and more complementary things towards the kind of total fitness experience. I do think there is a huge opportunity for positioning our product as a gym more and more into health versus just aesthetics. Because health, by the way, is a lifelong thing, right? And we can do so great here. And I can give you one example, Ross. During the lockdown, we decided not to furlough our team, but rather to have everyone developing on 120% capacity. And we developed our Immune Fit program. So now when users approach our smart strength machines or our partner's cardio machine, but also if they just are purely digital customers of ours, their users will find a training program that optimizes the immune system for users. So we set all parameters that the immune system grows, but at the same time, we minimize the so-called immunosuppression, the moment right after your workout where you're even more likely to be infected. But we can manage that because we run these people through an high intensity interval training. And as we know their capabilities, we can stop the workout in the right moment, the intensity, keep them cooling down again, and therefore minimize the immunosuppression. And we've developed this during the lockdown. We launched it post-lockdown, and boom, from one day to another, it became the most popular workout goal on all our products. I have never seen a new training goal taking over muscle building, weight loss, and all these things. 31% of users clicked that training goal. And that's, of course, health. And now I hope us as an industry, probably 30% will not kind of moving forward always pick immunity boost as their training goal. But those are people that indicated that they truly care for, a health-oriented workout. And so I really hope that we can develop that further, understand those users better, and find out what they really want towards health orientation, and let them not go back to aesthetics-oriented workout goals. And this is definitely something we will keep investing more and more, because we believe that's where the future is of our industry.
I think this is a really exciting time for those operators and even the manufacturers, Philipp, that can align programs to health rather than to fitness. And those that do, the reward is absolutely there. Ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to watch a quick video now to show some of the innovation that eGym are producing in the last decade. Some fantastic, fantastic products and partnerships. Let's watch this, and we'll return straight after that with another interview with Christoph.
Our gyms are not empty. They are filled with the concerns of our gym owners and operators. Concerns about their futures, concerns about their members. We are confident that soon fitness and health facilities will be packed with people eager to return to their workouts, so they can take action and reach their health goals. Their fitness needs will be changed. Their safety expectations too. Are gyms prepared? We all thought that shutting down our gyms was hard, but honestly, reopening them is the tougher challenge.
We need to provide them with a comprehensive solution that solves the most critical challenges they are facing.
So what can we do to help our operators to get ready?
To manage capacity restrictions, help members to feel safe, and understand members' feelings.
To boost members' immunity and gyms' economics by developing a program that targets myokine release for a positive impact on the immune system.
With the guidance and motivation our members are used to, and communication that supports operators and members both ways.
With complementary digital offers to ensure members stay active, and giving them their own communication channel to strengthen personal relations. Together, let's make the world fit for life, one body at a time. Ready? Go!
Soy Salvador Miró, director de Megasport Centre. Decidimos implementar eGym porque nos ayuda mucho la fuerza electrónica y es un elemento diferenciador respecto a la mayoría de clubs. Estoy muy contento como proveedor con eGym porque nos ayuda durante todo el recorrido con reportes y con información al respecto del uso. Bueno, los resultados nosotros abrimos hace muy poco y son espectaculares, ya que tenemos un 33% de gente que utiliza las máquinas de gym Teniendo una instalación como la nuestra, que es tan grande, que son 3.500 metros, destinados a fitness y cardio, pues resulta que la utilización de las máquinas de gym está teniendo una aceptación enorme.
Buenos días, soy David Pérez, director técnico de Sala Fitness, entrenamiento personal y zona funcional de Megasport Centre. La principal ayuda que ofrece Gym a los entrenadores es que a través de la app obtienen todos los datos de forma automática y después de la primera sesión, que es con un técnico, los usuarios son totalmente independientes. El perfil de socio que utiliza el equipamiento de Gym es de todo tipo, muy variado, desde gente que empieza a entrenar hasta gente que ya tiene bastante experiencia.
Pues gracias a la Fitness App de eGym me supone tener un control instantáneo de mis entrenamientos diarios. Lo que más valoro del entrenamiento con eGym es que se adapta a mis necesidades y puedo lograr mis objetivos de entrenamiento más fácilmente.
Aujourd'hui, tous nos nouveaux adhérents passent par le parcours eGym parce qu'il nous permet de faire des évaluations.
On fait un test d'effort pour voir nos performances max et puis en fonction, la machine elle étalonne ce qu'elle a besoin pour justement avoir un rendement maximum.
Donc là, avec eGym, on peut vraiment dire à l'adhérent, voilà, tu as un déséquilibre de ce côté-là, voilà ce qu'on va faire, on va travailler comme ça, pour rééquilibrer le corps.
Quand je fais mon programme eGym, je vais un petit peu m'échauffer sur un tapis, sur un vélo elliptique, et puis je fais mon programme. Ça m'aide aussi pour me perfectionner dans mes cours, ça me donne beaucoup plus de force.
Alors l'application, ils s'en servent bien sûr pour mettre les gens sur eGym, mais ils se servent aussi de l'application pour faire des programmes d'entraînement quand ils ont des coachings personnalisés.
Les différents programmes, ça me permet de toucher un plus grand panel de personnes.
Donc moi pour l'appli coach, ce qui est pratique, c'est qu'on puisse mettre déjà les rendez-vous par rapport au suivi. C'est vrai qu'on peut utiliser pour faire notre propre programme sur la tablette, donc ça c'est super efficace. Au niveau de l'organisation, c'est top.
J'utilise l'appli, ça permet aussi de remplir les trucs de muscu, les cours collectifs, et ça c'est bien. Plus on s'entraîne, plus c'est efficace et plus on évolue. Et puis du coup ça incite à aller encore plus s'entraîner.
Christoph, good to see you. Thanks very much for joining us. As mentioned to Philipp just now, 2020 has been an incredible year. It's posed a lot of challenges to both operators and manufacturers. What lessons are you going to take forward from this?
Firstly, Ross, thank you for inviting me, giving me the chance to talk to the audience. It's really a very exceptional year, 2020, giving us a lot of lessons to be learned. One of the biggest lessons we learned is, and I personally learned to be honest, is we need to be, as a company, customer-centric. But in those kind of crises, you need to be even much more customer-centric than ever before, which means you need to be very close to your partners and customers to understand what is the changing behavior, what is changing in the business model, what is changing in the P&Ls, what is the concerns of gyms and members and trainers. That means that you need to be very out in the market, listening a lot, and then translating that into solutions, which is really creating value for them. In those kind of times, everybody's looking even much more on what really drives value for my members, what is driving my P&L positively. And people are really looking for values. Everything which is kind of nice, sometimes kind of even innovative stuff is not helping in the P&L, people don't care about because they really are sometimes in a survival mode, some of them, and then you need to really help them. So custom centricity also by different segments and different, let's say also markets and geos is very important. We also saw that the government rules are totally different. Even in Germany, every state has a different rules and a different behavior. So being out in the market, very close to the partners, to the customers, but also sometimes to the government is very important.
Now, eGym are pioneering the digital frontier. Can you talk about eGym Cloud and eGym Digital, Christoph? Are these going to be future cornerstone revenue blocks for the company?
Definitely, yes. They are already cornerstones on the revenue blocks for eGym. They are significantly contributing to our P&L positively. But I think it's not only the revenue, the strategic importance of software and having the connection of hardware, software, and services, building a whole eGym system is even a bigger value for our customers. because we can now generate fastly new programs. So we just talked about the pandemic and COVID-19. One of the things we learned is that the people are looking more for health. We immediately started to develop a new program called Immune Boost Program on a software side, distributed it out to our machines and to our applications that the clients can easily, intuitively use and choose the Immune Boost Program to be healthy and boost their immune system. And this is only possible through software solutions. If you don't have those kind of software solutions, you can't be fast reacting to changing behaviors and patterns in the market. So the software gets immediately strategic importance. It's a revenue importance, but also on the strategic side.
How do you get your solutions into the owners of gyms and health clubs, Christoph? And how do these solutions become much more valuable now, especially in these troubled times?
The 2-3 things we need to comes to my mind on that one. Number one is I just talked about the Immune Boost Program. This is a huge opportunity for gyms on acting on changing behavior and the needs of their members. So changing from aesthetic bodybuilding into health providing organization or floor, that's one of the things we really support and enable gyms to get in this direction. But secondly, also, we are about to launch a new product, which is even more getting into smarter onboarding for the gym. And in combined with the Immune Boost Program, it will help gyms to say, you're going to reduce your time in the gym to a minimum, but be effective on training your Immune Boost Program. And this way, the people feel much safer because they're not staying too long in the gym. There is a touchless onboarding, so they don't have to kind of touch things and feeling uncomfortable or insecure. And then we also help the gyms with a whole education system, which we call Campus, where we train and educate trainers and gyms on how they can convey the message of why the muscle and Immune Boost Program is so important now for boosting the immune system, which is the only thing they can really, let's say, do against the COVID-19 from a member perspective. That's what we're going to do. We're going to educate the people. We also implemented a health alliance, which is summarizing all the sports science and this kind of truth, because the gyms are not able to do that. It takes a lot of time, and some people see studies, maybe they are not really trustful. So we implemented a health alliance in the campus with all the trainings, educating them. In addition, we are providing really solutions like the Immune Boost Program, and we're about to launch a new product now to make the onboarding faster and really touchless.
All things considered, Christoph, in the past couple of years, eGym has almost transformed in terms of its growth. Looking ahead, no doubt, there's another phase of growth coming for the company. Where are you seeing most growth at the moment? What kind of verticals, what kind of demographics are you chasing after? Where do you think the return is most?
Yeah, I would say in three areas. Number one is really helping those health seekers to be successful. So we see that depending on the geographic, we see that only 5 to 24% are going to the gym. So we still have roughly 80% not going to a gym, not achieving their goals, while it's super important to be healthy. So this is one thing we really focus on our concepts and systems are enabling gyms to address this 80% people who are not professionals or can't afford a personal trainer, go into the gym, be intuitively, also with fun, have a resistance training and cardio training, and they're really achieving their targets and go home happy and more healthy than ever before. That's the number one thing. In those kind of target segment, we also think about segments. So we also go for independent gyms. We also want to be very good for boutique gyms and having good concepts and solutions for them. At the same time, we see a lot of demand coming for our equipment from retired homes, because our equipment is very intuitively and makes fun, even resistance training. So even, let's say, older people are having fun to have a resistance training again, but nobody will really think about it. And we also kind of provide solutions for physiotherapists and local authorities. So we continue also on those segments, and if segments comes out and is very attractive for us, we will develop new solutions and concepts for them. And thirdly, at the end of the day, we think about geographics. So we are very strong in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. We are getting strong in North America, which is a very important market for us. We are serving in UK, France, Iberia, but also we are serving through distributors and partners in Netherlands, Benelux, Denmark, Sweden, South Korea. And we are also kind of open up through partners like in Italy and other countries. And we're also looking at some areas like in Asia. We shortly maybe go to one of the areas in Asia because there's a lot of demand coming, the requests coming for our equipments. So at the end of the day, it's really number one, how do we address and make the gyms really enabling to go off the 80% on not going to the gym is a huge market for us. And we immediately, as a fitness industry, need to win those 80%. Number two is we're gonna serve more and more better the segments and their different needs. And third is about the geographic expansion on the right markets who really are, let's say, very intrigued to have our equipment and our concepts.
Christoph, one last question before we pull Philipp back into the interview here. Looking ahead, 12 months from now, what does success look like for yourself and for eGym? And what closing message do you want to leave everyone that's watching this with?
Hi, Ross, good question. I think success looks for me in the next 12 months when we're going to be, as eGym, enable all the gyms around the world to make sure that the members getting healthy, stay healthy, and get through the pandemic without getting the infection. This is my number one. They should really go on, millions of members go into the gym, do the immune boost program, and really stay healthy and get healthy out through the pandemic. This is number one, simply like this. Secondly, I think the industry and the fitness industry has a huge opportunity and a huge value for this whole society by providing those solutions to the members and helping the governments to save costs on the national health systems. It's huge. And by really providing simple, intuitive, fun solutions, we need to make sure that the people look at workouts like brushing their teeth every day. It's a habit. And why is brushing your teeth a habit and going to the gym and having a workout not? And that's what we need to transform as a fitness industry and really contributing to the society. And that is my aspiration, my vision for eGym, but also for the whole fitness industry.
Thanks, Christoph. Great thoughts, as always. I'll leave the final closing thought to Philipp.
Thank you very much, Ross. So what I believe is for all of us in this industry right now, our everyday job feels like block and tackle, block and tackle. It's a difficult time, but it's a huge opportunity for us to reinvent our industry and make us so much bigger. Let's go from 15% to 100%. Let's leave aesthetics behind and focus on health orientation. And that's a huge opportunity. We have now the moment to reinvent ourselves, and that is exciting. And that should be basically for us the silver lining to keep pushing hard through this very difficult time.
Great thoughts to end on. Philipp, thank you very much. Christoph, thank you very much indeed. I am excited for this next interview. Pete Moore is one of the foremost experts when it comes to advising fitness and lifestyle companies on transactions and anything related to business, finance, and investment. A former investment banker, he now advises companies across the fitness and wellness ecosystem on everything from M&A to equity capital markets and debt capital markets. I don't know anybody in the world with as much insight on finance and investment in fitness and wellness than Pete Moore. He is an absolute gem, and I look forward to interviewing him right now. Ladies and gentlemen, get your thinking caps on and get global for Pete Moore. Pete Moore, thank you very much for joining us today. Let's get stuck in straight away. For those perhaps that aren't aware of the term halo, can you just quickly describe how you view the sector and what it's all about?
Sure. Well, great to be here, and thanks for having us on, and good to see you again on the video side. I've been a health and wellness banker since 2003. And I never had too many companies come to us and say, hey, I've got an awesome wellness idea. And then I decided to Google the word wellness and found out in the 1920s, there was a guy named Dr. Halbert Dunn who worked at the Mayo Clinic, and he was a biostatistician, and he was looking at the data and saw that everyone was getting sick. So he was trying to solve for illness and decided to create the word wellness as effectively the antonym. So if you're not sick, you're just okay. And I said, you know, I don't want to be a wellness banker anymore, just making people okay, and bringing capital into the wellness industry to hope people don't get sick. And I wanted to try and elevate that. And I was kicking around with some letters and realized that the HALO acronym would be a great acronym to use. Health, active, lifestyle, outdoors, and create the HALO effect, and to elevate from the word wellness to make people awesome and not to just make sure that they're not sick. So that was the evolution of HALO. And over the next 5 years, what we're trying to do is to get people who own companies to say, I'm part of the HALO sector, instead of part of the anti-aging or I'm part of the health club industry, or I'm a boutique fitness operator. I want them to say I'm a HALO company. So that is part of our evangelistic goal.
Well, look, it's a great goal, Pete. I mean, you are one of the very few unique advisors to the HALO sector. We've saw incredibly a number of fantastic deals happen this year and throughout the crisis. Can you pick a couple of great deals out from the rack, and what's impressed you and why?
Yeah, look, I mean, the proliferation of capital that's going into the at-home and the digital space is, unprecedented. Peloton's stock price being up 400% since March 15th or so has been pretty awesome. And thankfully, there is a platform that was the market leader in order to ensure that people were able to get the workouts that they need. During COVID, I think the average is somewhere between 15 to 20 pounds of additional weight that people have put on. Obesity, loneliness, and diabetes are the top three leaders of terminal issues for people's health. So you've seen a lot of investments over the last 6 months. If you ask me to kind of cherry pick a couple ones that I thought were really interesting, this week a group called Tonal, T-O-N-A-L, brought in $110 million of new capital. Some of that was from some celebrities and athletes. So I think there's an additional wave of new investors that are coming in that are also, influencers and that can stand behind a product. I think, the Zwift deal, Z-W-I-F-T, which is, a cycling modality that allows people to connect with their own bikes. For a company like that to raise $450 million of equity, quite frankly, I wasn't in the room and didn't work on the deal, but you've got to think that companies like that and investors that are investing in those companies are clearly thinking that groups like Zwift are going to replace health club memberships. The only way the numbers work is if you're cutting in to a revenue stream that is already in the bricks and mortar space and is going to shift into the digital space. So I think that was kind of a marker for me, or somewhat of a concern that, wow, some big VCs here don't view this as a temporary issue, that this is a long-term systemic shift in revenue. And, that's a concern for me of somewhat of a warning light, if you will, that this at-home is not only here to stay, but, there's some big bets being made on the other side of that. If you ask me what I think the best deal was, or the most interesting to me, was the Lululemon acquisition of Mirror, for $500 million. It's interesting for two reasons. One is my hope as an investment banker and as being in mergers and acquisitions is to get as many multi-billion-dollar companies to become potential buyers of companies in the health and fitness or in the HALO sector. So when you see a company like Lululemon make a $500 million bet, to have a connected mirror related to fitness in someone's home. And then, the play there is obviously, every instructor is going to be wearing Lululemon, and you're literally going to be able to touch the screen and purchase that and get it shipped to you, within a day or two. So I think that opens up a really interesting wave of, who's a potential buyer of the next connected fitness, whether it's a streaming technology or whether it's actual hardware, or whether in the future it's bricks and mortar. So I would love to see, Walgreens, CVS, Nike, Under Armour, Adidas. Like if those companies say, hey, I get what Lululemon did and I want to be in this space, the influx of capital and talent and sheer volume of deals is going to become really, really interesting. So as an investment banker, you typically go to your top 20 or 30 private equity funds to do deals, and there's typically a cap on what a company is worth. But what's a mirror worth to Lululemon from a standpoint of, additional revenue streams that come out of that, piece of hardware in somebody's house? I think that, to me, is kind of the bellwether deal that is going to shift people's thoughts on who potential buyers are or who potential partners are in the industry.
Like you say, that was a fantastic deal. I mean, we work with Lululemon. We didn't see that coming, but what a deal that was, Pete. Looking ahead, perhaps for the next maybe 2 to 4 quarters, where else do you see money moving into the sector? Will it be from private equity? Will it be from other type of funds? Will it be from these more strategic corporates? And if you do think, will it all be tech related, or will other verticals also get benefit of this new cash?
Yeah, look, I mean, direct to consumer is clearly, what seems to be the logical choice for growth investment. Anything going directly to the home and not having to deal with landlords, not having to deal with behavioral preferences or concerns on behalf of members that, don't feel safe going into a health club. So, direct to consumer supplements, direct to consumer workout recovery. We're invested in a company called Higher Dose, which makes infrared body wraps. So as people kind of outfit their gyms, which was kind of the first wave, now they're probably going to outfit their homes with, whether it's an infrared sauna or whether it's a salt room or whether it's, a TheraBody, device. Like all of this is going to end up being part of the home. And I think people are getting more and more comfortable with working out at home. Yet I don't think, at least personally, I'm kind of sick of the experience that it's binary, that I either don't work out or I work out in my home. Like I'm ready to get back inside of an experience in a live class. But you're going to see a wave of money going into the direct consumer. I think on the side of private equity and capital going into the bricks and mortar space, fortunately, I'm on speed dial with a lot of operators that own bricks and mortar health clubs. Unfortunately, I'm also on speed dial with operators of bricks and mortar health clubs. So what we're seeing, unfortunately, over the last couple of weeks is a lot of operators calling and saying, my banks had some empathy for the first 90 days, and they gave us some terms where we could extend our facilities. We didn't have to pay interest. We'd kind of tack it onto the back. I would say, unfortunately, the empathy is out of the system, and now it is about I got to get paid. How much money do you have in your security deposit if you're the landlord to the tenant? There was initially, I'd say, a sharing of the pain related to the pandemic. Now it's, that's my building, you're a tenant and you pay. And if you don't pay, I don't care if you're open or not, like that's my building and that's the benefit of me being a landlord. And, tough. So only the companies that have really strong leverage, such as, let's take LA Fitness as an example. They have one real estate investment trust, a REIT, that they have 52 leases with. So they've got leverage with a REIT to say, hey, look, this is how this is going to go down. And if you don't like it and you're not fair about it, then, I'm going to bankrupt, this subsidiary that has all of your leases and go try and find someone else to backfill. So to answer your question in a roundabout way, I think there's going to be some distressed investors that are going to come and say, you know, I like that chain of HVLP 2.0, or I like that chain of Orange Theories, and I'll give you money to pay down your debt and get these guys off your back. And I do think, you know, within 12 to 18 months, you know, these businesses are going to normalize, and there'll probably be less competitors that were able to get through this period. And I think you're actually going to see a rebalancing of the supply demand, where the strongest players financially and from a programming standpoint and from a management standpoint are actually going to have they're going to actually provide even more profitability and value to their investors, but it's going to take, you know, 12 months to 18 months to get that kind of visibility.
You rightly say, Pete, that you've got investors obviously on your Rolodex and your clientele list. Do you think a number of these will be waiting on the sidelines at the moment, waiting for valuations to drop a little bit, for distress to come in? What do you think the investor perspective is on terms of company valuation? And then let me just kind of piggyback on that a little bit. What do you think in the mind of some of these corporate CEOs? Do you think they're quite realistic about what their company is worth today?
Yeah, I think there's a dose of cold water being poured on everyone right now. So if you said to me, you know, I've got this 20 health club chain in X state in the US, what's that worth? You know, having a conversation about what something's worth, assume that there is a buyer for something. So, you know, if I have a bottle of, you know, baby powder in my, in my closet, you know, what's the price of that? Well, there has to be someone that actually wants to buy it for it to even have a value. So unfortunately, I think there's a lot of clubs and a lot of chains right now that actually don't have a valuation, as kind of odd as that may seem, because there aren't buyers yet, because there's not enough visibility on how their landlords are acting, you know, what the visibility is from a government standpoint of getting to a capacity level that would even allow you to get to any semblance of profitability, or how long it's going to take from a cash burn to get to the other side. So I definitely think valuations are going to get back to reasonable values. But the problem that we're running into right now, and I'll give you an example, is I've got a client that had $10 million of EBITDA, and it's a high-end health club chain. I would argue that pre-COVID, the company was worth, let's say, $70 to $80 million, 7 to 8 times EBITDA. So the EBITDA right now is zero. And the question is, you know, if somebody comes in and says, hey, I like those assets, and I would love to own those assets, in a year and a half from now, you know, those assets are going to be worth 70 or 80 million. You know, the question is, from a seller standpoint, you know, how much of a discount, or can you structure a deal for me that basically gives me 10 or 20 million dollars today, and gives me some kind of earnout or some kind of seller note that when the world returns, you know, I haven't given you the keys, you know, and basically, you know, haven't received any value for what I built? Or, you know, can I get a certain amount now? Can I get a certain amount in 2 years? And can I own a piece of the business, you know, in 5 years? So I think from a valuation standpoint, it's very hard for an institutional investor to put too much money down up front, you know, not knowing when the business is going to actually turn profitable again. At the same time, there are investors that know that, you know, humans have been around for 150,000 years. You know, we've gotten through pandemics, we've gotten through wars, we've gotten through, you know, civil unrest. I mean, so we're making progress, and this too will pass. We've got more science now than we've ever had before. So I'm an optimist on the human race. I'm a pessimist to think that it's going to wash itself out in the next 90 days. So to answer your question, I think the most creative investors from an institutional level and the most reasonable sellers are going to find a path to a deal. And what I'm hoping is that there's not enough creativity, or that there's not enough flexibility on behalf of a buyer and seller or an entrepreneur and investor, that you lose a lot of really strong assets that are helping a lot of people, that give a lot of joy and results. So I've seen a couple of recent articles where there's one in California, like a bellwether of a residential community had a big tennis center, and they just announced that they're closing, forever. So think about, there's 6,000 people that live in that community that, wake up every morning excited to go play tennis or go swim in a pool, or use the childcare, so you're taking away what I would deem, essential activities for people to live, a healthy, active lifestyle outdoors. And that's going to have its own, significant tax on this country and probably internationally. So I'm hoping people find paths to a deal, or that a club like that would say, hey, look, I'm actually closing down and I'll reopen when the war ends, effectively. So that's what I'm hoping.
We touched earlier on about the buyers and sellers universe here. There will obviously be some industry consolidation, Pete, as companies get distressed. But of course, there will be a new array of buyers coming into the market. Looking ahead and maybe forecasting where you see M&A happening over the next 12 months, do you think the majority of that will actually be for distressed assets? Or do you believe there'll be quite a lot of strategic, high-value deals being done across the sector?
If you look at the health club space, I think, just given the constraints on occupancy, you're going to see somewhat of an urge to merge, just in order to keep the lights on and to maybe get a larger diversification of clubs. In those cases, it's not necessarily going to be somebody wins or loses. It's basically going to be almost like a partnered hibernation, if you will, or almost like a corporate sheltering in place, I guess would be another quote to kind of create or analogy. So I don't see big value deals happening because there's really no cash flow to support the valuation. I do think you're going to see, rescue financing, which I guess would be another term for, distressed, where you've got entrepreneurs and companies that have created really nice platforms in some of these larger branded franchise networks that put too much debt on the company. At the time, it looked like it wasn't too much debt. It looked like a fair amount of debt. Now it looks like there's too much. So I think you're going to have institutional investors say, hey, look, I'll provide rescue financing. Barry's Boot Camp, as an example, 3 months ago took in, I don't know if this was announced, but it was a $30 million preferred equity investment from a private equity firm called Light Bay Capital. That was clearly, the equivalent of a, let's keep the lights on here. Let's keep the team in place. And when we come out of this, our program is still awesome. The millennials and, weekend warriors like myself still love that program. And that love for the program is not going to dissipate, but it's frozen in time right now. So I got to help a company like that get to the other side. So I think you're going to see strong companies be able to attract that kind of capital. Some of those terms might come with, a layer of, I wouldn't say a pound of flesh, but like 6 ounces of flesh, to use like a petite filet analogy. But look, I mean, that's kind of like the new risk return profile is going to play itself out, in this rescue financing. I think some of these companies, unfortunately, have so much debt. Some of these regional health club operators have a lot of debt, just aren't that well positioned, and the banks are going to have to take a real haircut in order for the business to succeed, or for somebody to say, hey, I'll put, $30 million behind $100 million of debt of a company that only had, let's say, $15 million of EBITDA, before. And then also just one other point to make, not to go against my sector or my category of investment bankers, but we got pretty creative on what adjusted EBITDA meant. So, for your listeners here, EBITDA used to just be, hey, what's the cash flow of your business? And we started to do deals like every time the market, is hot, you'd say, well, this is the EBITDA of the company today, but the company's also got another 10 locations that they have a shovel in the ground. So let's add the EBITDA from those 10 locations and make it an adjusted EBITDA. And let's take that, that trip and fall, workers' comp issue, and let's add back another 200,000. Let's take that CFO that we replaced with this other CFO who was making too much money. So you had all these adjustments to what the actual numbers were, and private equity groups and institutional investors were paying a multiple of an adjusted number that was kind of artificially higher. And those numbers actually now don't even play out. So these companies either are sitting with a lot more debt based on an adjusted number, or have equity groups that say, hey, I actually overvalued this company and I'm pissed about it. So when they want to put more money back into the company, now they're saying, hey, let's look at the actual EBITDA. We're actually going to use a number that I want to use and not a number you want to use.
Well, look, it's been a very busy year for you, Pete, and you've done quite a phenomenal job in building the brand up already. For those that don't read or don't watch the Halo talks that was on Pete's website, absolutely please subscribe to those and also have a look at the Halo Pledge. Before we go, Pete, what's coming up for you in the next 12 months? Where are you seeing upside for you in the company? What are you investing in yourself?
Yeah, so we've got a small investment arm where we put a little bit of seed capital to work. The areas we're really excited about, from an early stage investment, one is we made an investment in a company called the Athlete Book, which is a virtual recruiting platform to try and get Division 1, 2, and 3 athletes in the U.S. into jobs. So I think part of, the initiative of companies in the Halo sector should be to hire athletes and get them into their next phase of their career. On the digital side, I see a lot of opportunity in rewards and bringing members back into the club. So we've got an investment and put additional money into a company called Promotion Vault. So those are two areas that I find interesting. From a standpoint of what we're doing, kind of our day job of banking is really to try and help entrepreneurs, figure out what their options are through the next 6 months. I've kind of been hesitant, and we're friends, so I'll tell you and your audience here, I'm hesitant to kind of become a restructuring advisor because, when you go into these bankruptcy cases, you have to wake up with a different mindset. When you work on growth equity deals, you wake up and you're excited every day, and you're trying to sell somebody on the growth of a business that and you have a lot of conviction that, hey man, look, this company is going to grow, kind of catch this lightning in a bottle, and here's what you got to pay for it, and kind of throw, capital or rocket fuel onto a business. That's fun. That's a nice thing to sell. When you're going in and you're trying to figure out, all right, these are 30 landlords that we're going to have to reject. That has 300 employees that can't be part of the company. That's 400,000 members that are no longer going to have a place to work out. That's not a fun part of banking, but at the same time, my uncle said this to me because he ran a hospital, and I said, you got to fire people all the time. That must be so demoralizing. He's like, look, if I don't fire these people, everybody's losing a job. Right. So I got to kind of protect the base to an extent, or else if I don't make that hard decision, then, I don't have a business or I don't have a hospital. So, restructuring is about, the most efficient way to hibernate and to kind of weather a storm. So, I would advise companies globally, make sure you survive right now. Anytime a hurricane comes and hits part of the United States, everybody gets some plywood and they bang up on their, to protect their windows, and they go down to a basement, when there's a tornado watch. So right now, the only thing you need to think about is hibernation and survival. And the other part of this is, as much as it feels like you're going to lose members forever, if I don't, have a counter punch, this industry, 50% of the people change their behavior every year. We've been talking, and you've been talking about, retention and attrition and churn rate. Okay, we can affect some of that, but at the end of the day, like when you reopen, there'll be people that want to work out at your location. So like, don't think that like just because somebody bought a Peloton, like that they're never going into a health club anymore. They bought a mirror. Like there's the average Orange Theory member also has a health club membership. So I'm hoping that people have a home workout, people have something they do on their iPhone in addition to that, and they also have a health club membership. So I wouldn't be concerned about what's going to happen on the other side. I would just be more concerned about getting to the other side. And that is in and of itself an achievement. So don't create more lofty goals than survival. If that's your main goal. And just do that for the next 6 to 12 months, and you'll be happy that you didn't waste money or like look at new locations, during a pandemic. It's not what you need to do.
Well, look, Pete, many thanks for that conversation. A really great insight into the markets. And ladies and gentlemen, as this Halo sector grows, be sure to make sure you connect with Pete and the team over at Integrity Square. Pete, thanks very much for a great conversation.
You got it, man. Good to see you again. And, we will continue to fight, and we will create the Halo effect. So I'm glad we're partnered up with you guys, and look forward to seeing you in person as soon as possible as well.
Thank you, Pete, for an incredible conversation. His depth of knowledge, ladies and gentlemen, is just absolutely staggering. I really enjoy every single time I talk to Pete. Last but not least, we welcome up our partners at GSIC, who are powered and partnered by Microsoft. GSIC are a sports and fitness incubator, but also advisors and ambassadors for investment into the future of technology and all it relates to fitness, wellness, and sports. They work with hundreds of founders and companies across the world. They work with scores of governments also in promoting investment into new companies and startups. Their insights into the market really are quite fantastic. And so now we welcome a special presentation by our friends at GSIC.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are fine and safe. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you, so welcome to the FIT Summit. I'm going to introduce a little bit more about what is the Global Sports Innovation Center and our expansion plan into APAC. So I hope you will enjoy my presentation, and if you have any doubts after my presentation, you can contact me directly and I will be more than happy to answer them. So let's start, okay? Well, the Global Sports Innovation Center was born in 2015 by Microsoft Sports with two particular features. The first one is that we have to be fully focused on sport, innovation, and technology. And the second one is that we have the character of a non-profit organization. This means that at the end of the day, what we seek is trying to support as much as possible the different startups and sport tech companies to grow their business and to connect with potential customers and potential investors. And from for the sport organizations and for the large companies, we support them to digitalize their business and to connect with the right partners in the market to address their needs. In terms of our expansion plan into APAC, okay, what we seek is trying to build a bridge between the Asian Pacific market and the rest of the world, and bringing the most disruptive technologies and the latest innovation to the market. Okay, we have selected Singapore as the country to establish our second office, because it's very well connected and we have the best partner possible, that it's Sport Singapore, that they share with us the vision that they want to become one of the reference governments in the world to be innovative and start implementing the digital transformation process. So we want to develop different capabilities. We share the vision about 2030, and Singapore will become one of the reference governments and countries in terms of innovation and sport tech. In terms of the Global Sports Innovation Center, we work into 6 different core areas. Okay, the first one is a strong business network with more than 340 partners from 40 different countries. Okay, we have select the best quality of startups and sport tech companies in the market to form part of our ecosystem and start connecting them with some of the leading sport organizations worldwide. In terms of the showcase area, okay, we have built in our headquarters in Madrid a showcase experience area where we showcase the latest technology and the most disruptive innovation in the market. We give them a lot of exposure, and we host in this area different delegations and different sport organizations that come to visit us, and we explain all the solutions that we have in our ecosystem for them. Then we have applied research, training, and education. Here we're constantly developing different reports and white papers about the industry. We have a working group around education, so we collaborate with different universities in research groups in order to identify, for example, what are the coming trends in the industry for 2025, and what are the coming challenges for the industry in from now to 2025. Or, for example, we are going to launch in the next few days a report around the future jobs opportunities in the sport industry. Then for the startups and companies, we support the startups and the company and the sport tech companies in 2 phases. The first one is to grow their business, okay, in their acceleration process, to support them, for example, how to pitch a potential investor, how to pitch a potential customer, and how to grow their business. And also we support them on the internationalization of the product, okay, to grow on a global scale and to connect with potential customers and potential investors all over the world. So we bring them new business opportunities. In terms of Microsoft solutions, as we are powered by Microsoft, we try to connect our members with the different programs of Microsoft. So, for example, for the startups, we connect them with the Microsoft for Startup program in order to support them to reduce the cost of their technology. So for them, it's one of the greatest things, because they can reduce the cost of their technology in terms of the cloud, so they can continue developing new capabilities and new functionalities, and they have also some technical support from Microsoft. For the sport tech companies, we connect them with Microsoft Partner Network in order to support to sell their product and also to give them some technical support too. So Microsoft is investing heavily in building one of the greatest ecosystems in terms of sport tech. In terms of digital transformation services, these services are mainly focused to provide to the sport entities and the large companies with services around digital transformation to digitalize their business and to become a reference in terms of innovation, technology, and sports. Here we have the different sport industry innovation scenarios that we are currently working. We have solutions for fan engagement. Here are all the solutions to have to achieve a better engagement with our fan community. So, for example, wayfinding solutions, gamification tools, and that kind of stuff. Then we have smart stadiums, how to digitalize a stadium with management control systems, access control systems, also some video surveillance and that kind of stuff. Then we have business insights, how to better understand our fan community and take data-driven decisions. So how to build a 360 fan view, and with these kind of solutions, we can give our fans the proper content that they would like to consume. In terms of team and player performance, we have solutions for injury recovery, injury prevention, and also management athlete platforms where we can increase the performance of the athletes and take data-driven decisions based on their performance. Then we have media, all the solutions around OTT platforms, automatic video curation solutions. So the main goal in this area is to identify the proper solutions to give our fans the content that they would like to consume. In terms of eSports, we are supporting different leagues, clubs, and also federations to digitalize their business, okay, and to provide them with the latest technology in the market. In terms of fitness and wellness, well, we are collaborating with plenty of different startups that are supporting us and supporting Sports Singapore with their vision to be active, okay, to be one of the most active countries in terms of sports. So there are solutions for training from home, for fitness and wellness centers to digitalize their business too. So here we have a broad experience identifying the latest technology and the most disruptive innovation in the market. In terms of our numbers, okay, we have analyzed and profiled over the last 5 years more than 1,500 companies from 80 different countries. So we have achieved a huge expertise identifying which are the best solutions in the market across the sport scenarios that I already mentioned before. So why the GSIC? Well, first of all, because we have an international leadership. We have been working with some of the leading sport organizations worldwide in the last few years. We have a strong partner ecosystem, okay? All the startups and sport tech companies that form part of our ecosystem has been analyzed and profiled. So we have blocked them into different sport scenarios. We have analyzed their capabilities, their functionalities, and depending on the level of maturity of our customers, we adapt the value proposition and we connect them with different partners that could address their needs. So let's focus on the benefits of our ecosystem, okay? For example, we support all of our members with brand awareness, okay? So premium presence and brand visibility. We support them to participate in some of the sport industry leading events. We give them visibility in all activities and content that we are generating. Just to give you an example, we are organizing more or less 2 activities per week. We are constantly inviting our members to present their solutions, their products, for the large companies and the sport entities to present their vision and their strategies around digital. So we are constantly giving them a lot of exposure. In terms of networking, well, all of our members has the opportunity to connect with each other. That's the beauty of our ecosystem. So they can participate in all our activities. They have access to more than 340 companies that form part of our ecosystem. So they can connect with each other and explore potential business opportunities together, or if they can join forces and have a better product, well, that's part of our ecosystem. Then in terms of advisory, okay, we are constantly giving assessment in terms of technology, in terms of innovation, and in terms of the sport industry for our members, also for the startups and sport tech companies, but also for the large companies and the sport entities. So we are constantly supporting them to grow their business and to develop their business opportunities, and with mentoring and training sessions for the startups. And we also organize like knowledge exchange transfer sessions. That these sessions is, for example, between 2 sport organizations to learn from each other how they have developed different solutions and different products around innovation and tech. In terms of training, well, we have an ambassadors network and different subject matter experts that support the startups and the sport tech companies to digitalize their business, some assessment in terms of digital transformation, and that kind of stuff. In terms of Microsoft, as I already mentioned, we have a very close relationship with the different Microsoft subsidiaries. So we support our members to connect with the right programs of Microsoft in order to have technical support, some assessment, some investment from Microsoft in terms of the technology that they are using. And well, at the end of the day, if our members grow, we grow too. So that's the part of the benefits of being a non-profit organization. So in terms of the space that we have, well, in Singapore, we will open our doors very soon, hopefully, if the COVID allow us. So in our headquarters, we have in Madrid, we have a space that all of our members can use this space for meetings. We also have an event space that they can use to present their products, to approach to potential customers, to approach to potential investors. We have an experience center, and our philosophy is that we would like to build the same space in Singapore. In terms of the sport DT advisory services, this is more or less for mainly focused for the sport organizations and also for the large companies. So we have different services depending on the level of maturity that they have. So we have what we call the inspiration sessions. This is just to share the art of possible in terms of digital transformation for the sport industry. And we have organized these sessions also between different sport organizations to share their thoughts around a topic and to learn from each other. Then we have what we call the diagnostic. This is to identify the current situation of our customer in terms of digital transformation. So we analyze different sport scenarios, different areas, and then we provide them with some common insights about the industry and then with some recommendations around the different solutions that they should implement in the organization to start this process. In terms of the architecture design sessions is to identify the building blocks that they need to implement in the organizations to start, for example, building a customer data platform or to start building a athlete performance platform, okay? Then in terms of the innovation days, this is sessions where we introduce directly for the customer with the right partner. So imagine the customer could share with us like, okay, I'm looking for different solutions around fitness and wellness. Could you please introduce me with the best quality of startups and sport tech companies in this area? So we analyze all the solutions that we have in our ecosystem. We select which ones are more suitable for the needs of the customer, and then we organize an agenda where they can have the opportunity to meet at least 8 members from our ecosystem that could provide them with specific solutions for their needs. In terms of the startups competitions, well, we organize these kind of sessions with different sport organizations. So, for example, with La Liga, with Sport Singapore recently, in order to identify the best solutions in the market, because we are constantly analyzing and profiling startups and sport tech companies, because we want to build a strong ecosystem for the sport industry in terms of innovation and technology. And then in terms of sport industry research, as I already mentioned, we are developing different reports, white papers, and that kind of stuff to support the industry to understand the future challenges and the future needs of the industry. These are some additional benefits that we offer for the sport entities. So we offer them the possibility of supporting them with technological scouting on a weekly basis, monthly basis. As we are a non-profit, we can customize our value proposition for the different needs of our customers. Then we have solutions integrations. We have different partners that are system integrators. So we support our customers and the different sport organizations and large companies to integrate the different solutions that we provide them. Our partners provide them. In terms of open innovation programs, we can give them assessments about how to develop these open innovation programs, or we can provide directly to the customer with these programs that we have already implemented with other organizations. In terms of innovation hubs, here is an assessment about how to build an innovation hub, the different capabilities that you have to take into account, the different contents that you should develop. In terms of best practices, here are just a few examples, okay, of the companies that we have in our ecosystem. Here, for example, Brintia is a Spanish company. They have been working with the World Athletics. They have implemented a wayfinding solution with a kind of gamification. It's like with a Pokemon Go, where we can guide you to your seat in the venue. And during this guidance, you have the opportunity to have some rewards playing like a Pokemon Go. Then with Solos is the first smart jersey that has been implemented in Europe. Okay, it was with Real Sociedad, and they have used NFC technology. In terms of Silvi, they are building an athlete management platform for the EIFA. EIFA is the football federation in Argentina. So they are building this athlete management platform to analyze the performance of all the athletes that are playing in the grassroots for the EIFA. Then we have Thinfo. Okay, they have developed an OTT platform for the young categories of Celta de Vigo, one of the top tier clubs at La Liga. With Southwards, they are developing a customer data platform for world bowling. Well, in terms of fan-wide, they have support La Liga to develop watch party events, and we have more and more examples that we can share with you. In terms of the GSIC Institute, it's because we have launched our master in digital transformation, okay, for the industry, because based on our experience, we have identified different markets that wants to start this digital transformation process, but they don't have people who can lead this process. So we want to form the future leaders of the industry who can lead this process in their organization. So we have launched this master. Then we are collaborating with different universities worldwide to develop additional programs in terms of sports management, for example, or intellectual property in the sport industry. So this is it from my side. I hope you enjoy my presentation, and please do not hesitate in contact me if you have any doubts or if you want to learn more about the Global Sports Innovation Center. And I hope you will enjoy the rest of the event, because Fit Summit is one of the greatest events in the industry. Thank you very much. It was my pleasure to be here with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed that. Again, another fantastic trilogy of presentations and interviews. So what's coming up next? Well, a small short break, and then we're going to break into a keynote closing session, not on the main stage, but over in sessions where we look at diversity and inclusion. A really excellent topic led by our colleague Sarah, Head of Events. Please do dash over there in 15 minutes time if you can. In about 45 minutes time here, we're going to rerun the first session of the morning. So if you missed it, don't worry, you can see it exactly here in 45 minutes with Anytime Fitness, Techno Gym, MyZone, and special guests. For now, you've got a few options. One, you can grab a coffee, jump into exhibition, or you can jump into networking. If by chance you have to leave now, I wanted to say these final closing remarks to each and every one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We really do humbly appreciate every single one of your time. We know time is precious here. We know these are very difficult days for business as they try and regrow and rebuild. We are the same. But we wouldn't be where we are today without our friends, without our partners, without your support. It doesn't go unnoticed. I just want to say on behalf of my team and I that we've really enjoyed putting on this event. There's a couple of hours still to go, so if you can stick in, please stick with us. All talks will be recorded and made on demand afterwards in the next 48 hours. You won't hear from me live again for the rest of this event. I'm going to be jumping into the sessions, networking, seeing the exhibitions, and making sure I watch some incredible content. I'll also make sure that I watch a lot of it online in the next 48 hours. For now, ladies and gentlemen, for those sticking with us, enjoy the rest of the event. For those that have to disappear, thank you very much, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Get ready.